bro, you're a fanboy, or no, Android's better because it's technically this, or iPhone's better because it's that. And iPhone's the same thing in a different package. And it's like, they don't have any new features, and Samsung's got all the new features. And it's like, you can start a war. Why? Because people are, at the end of the day, are brand driven. Get them into your brand driven affinity with your products, and it will grow more organically.
Welcome to the High Voltage Business Builders Podcast, a show where we interview high voltage entrepreneurs growing and scaling through e-commerce, real estate, and other wealth without Wall Street ventures, showing you the path to making your first or next million.
So first off, I will tell you that if you may be watching this later than when we recorded it sometime in 2024 or beyond, and the end result is something's already changed in Amazon in the last 2 weeks, probably the last 2 hours. It's just an ever-evolving, ever-changing marketplace, and that's something we have learned to adapt and deal with over the years. And so one of the changes that is most impactful to the first topic, the first break that most people need to understand, and the 4 breaks we'll cover today in this conversation, I think will make sense to do that, or what the heck do I even sell? And is it going to be viable to sell this year into next year and the year after that, right? If I'm going to put time, energy, attention, and money into my product, or maybe my first product, let's say, what am I going to sell that's going to evolve into multiple products, a brand, and continue to keep going? And that's a question that actually can be easily solved by just looking into your environment. The environment we live in now, while it's a sort of consumer materialistic driven environment, that just means at the end of the day, there's products around you everywhere in your environment that someone else is selling. And at some point in time, you may have bought one of our products or one of my client products through Amazon and didn't even realize it, because 60% of the sales on Amazon come through third-party sellers. So the conditioning of your environment, your urban environment, your location, where you are, what you buy, and who you interact with is the first place and easiest place for brand new people to find a product to sell. We call it the urban mining hack. And it's literally looking into your environment, your conscious environment, and now stopping to actually question all the things you're buying and where you're going to buy them and who that's buying them to around you. And you should consider, okay, because we've learned this long enough, that it is a woman 27 to 40. They buy like 80% of everything online, Aaron. And if you have a family, I have a family. My wife is constantly buying things from Amazon for the home, for the family, since we homeschool and we live sort of in a rural area. It's 25 minutes to the local city, which to us is more like 20,000 people. It's more like a town. Our local town is about 1,800 people, and that's more like a community. So we aren't easily where we're located. Now, if we're in a city center urban environment, of course, you can get that in 2 days or 2 hours in some locations, but you just need to think about where you are, what you're buying, what you're purchasing, and then think about the people who are around you, a spouse, a friend, a sister, a cousin, an uncle, the neighbor lady, somebody who's buying something, and just look and say, okay, if that person's buying one, is there thousands of people buying that? And most likely there is, because of the kind of environment we live in. And the opportunity then is to just start building a list, just start writing down every product you see, every product that you've purchased in the last 90 days on Amazon, and just say, hey, is that a product that I could sell? It's just your first question. Is that a product I could sell? And the answer to writing it on the list is, did I buy it? Did someone else I know buy it? And that's just first level analysis. With that, you're building a big list. Okay. It's the most list of products you can write down. In fact, we challenge people to write down 300 of those, technically 500, but we're looking to get patterns and behavior that get down to 300 of those and say, okay, well, out of 300, I now see home and kitchen or outdoors or sports or something that I'm interested in now popping up continuously, because either I bought it or friends or community or my local soccer team is all buying the same things. And you're starting to see patterns. So look at the patterns, and the patterns should drive you down to say, okay, these are 300 products that I could see in sort of a pattern, or products that I could sell. And then the ultimate goal is to get down to 5 products that you could sell. And of those 5 products, launch just one of them. And then to get through that analysis, that's basically step 2. The next break is, once I've got this list and I've kind of curated a list down, I need to target a supplier or manufacturer to kind of help me get through those numbers to actually make this profitable.
Amazing. That's, it's brilliant. And it actually completely blew my mind when this has evolved slightly since when I first heard about you talking about this. But what it gets you over is the paralysis by analysis. You are literally going, you start to notice is like the pattern is, you buy a red car, a certain model, guess what? You see thousands of them on the road.
That car syndrome or red car syndrome. Yeah, they suddenly appear everywhere as though the universe has magically moved them into your space, into your mind. But something else has actually happened, hasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Become more conscious and more aware of all the opportunities around you. And what happens is, I know this happened for me as well, and no doubt hundreds of your students and people that you've helped over the years, is once you start, it's just a mindset switch of, abundance of like, look how much there's out there of how much product we can sell. It's remarkable because opportunity is everywhere, right?
Yeah, that is. And that's what people get caught up in. And sometimes it's like, well, there's so much, I don't know what to sell. They get into, again, that analysis paralysis. So the way to get through that is by the numbers. The way to break through that is to actually get down into the numbers. If you want to understand the decision-making process of 7- and 8-figure sellers, it goes like this. There's a product. I understand millions of people can buy it. I see it on Amazon. I see there's hundreds of reviews, even thousands. I know people are buying that product. The question is, can I sell that product? And the answer comes in the numbers. The numbers tell me whether or not I can sell that product. There's no guessing. It's analytical. And too many times I think people guess at this. The other thing they do is they follow mainstream mass thinking, and they all end up in the same location with the same software using the same filters, and they all end up in the same products, which means they're literally just above some competitive saturation. And then it immediately goes into saturation with 50 other sellers jump in the same place because they've all used the same filters, the same settings, and the same softwares. So I've watched that over the last 10 plus years become a major problem with new sellers in the marketplace being taught old tactics that are relative to certain tools and softwares that basically cost, right? It's what we call opportunity cost. They cost you the opportunity, the time, energy, attention, and money to launch a product where you're thinking, I'm going to sell 2,000 units a month, but it's going to end up being $1 and $2 in profit. And all you're doing is moving units as an estimated sales a day. And that's just vanity. It's the same way revenue is vanity, which you're not going to hear me pump a lot of revenue. I want to talk about profit, or what we refer to as net profits. What falls through the net in the gross you put into the net, what falls out the bottom is the net, what you actually get to keep. And it's most important to understand the net profit. And so we have to go by the numbers to understand that. And here are some of the numbers for your mind that should make sense. And this should resonate with you a little bit from the past, because it's still the same opportunity as it was years ago. People just aren't catching on yet. And so we keep saying it over and over again, right? That's conditioning. Conditioning is repetitive. Conditioning is saying the same thing and doing the same thing. So we want to condition people to the numbers. And that is, you need a product that has more than $12 in net profit. Okay. If the product you're selling is $12 to $20, you cannot retail a product that will net you $12 in profit. It just won't happen. Amazon's seller fees, storage fees, and other fees have changed dramatically going into this year, and probably will change this year and beyond too. They've made some major changes in the way products and price points are being filtered through the system. It's coming through some potential FTC antitrust questions that are happening right now. And what that fallout will look like is going to be sort of a day by day, week by week, which is why we continually stay up with people, because it will change. The end result is you simply cannot sell, in my mind, any more $20 or less products on Amazon. It simply isn't going to be there for you unless you are a manufacturer working on volume. Thus, $1 to $3 in profit makes sense, even $5 for you, because you're manufacturing the product directly and you have the capability of then going directly to the consumer. And that's one of the things that Amazon's changing for the sub $20 products in the coming year based on fees, storage fees, and recent changes to their market. We've talked about it. I think I talked about it a decade ago. Don't sell Me Too products. Sell products that create brand value and affinity and have a solution-based orientation, right? To it. What does a solution-based thing look like? It goes like this. You wake up one morning and you have a tooth that is killing you and it is hurting really bad. And you're like, dang, I want to get this tooth fixed. Well, 2 weeks later, you're still fighting with that same problem because you haven't gone and fixed it. Okay. So you call up the doctor and he says, hey, you can get this solution. It'll be an hour long and it's $300. Oh gosh, hour long and $300. What else do you got? He's like, well, I could do the same thing in 15 minutes for $500. What do you think that person who's been suffering for 2 weeks is most likely going to do? They're going to say, give me the 15-minute solution. I'll take it for $500. They're going to get the solution they need that stops the pain and the hurting. When you sell products and create products into brands that solve solutions and pain points that are that relative to the solution-based outcome the customer wants, that's where your opportunity begins. Okay. It also begins at the end of your excuses. Why I can't do this, the time I can't do this, I can't afford to do it, how much time do I need, and blah, 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 and all the other excuses that have held people up from even getting started. You have to stop, because that's when your opportunity actually begins. And so this is understanding the numbers in terms of the products. Now, the product itself should then retail more $50 to $150 in retail in order to accommodate a $12, $24, $36, $48 in profit per unit. What you keep is more important at the end of the day. So what you retail it for will be basically what the market demands. And the market doesn't always demand the exact price point for the other competitors in the marketplace. That's another thing in the numbers that amateur sellers are being taught by gurus who don't know what the hell they're doing. They are going after price points and valuation of the products that are to meet or drop below, not exceed the current market value. And I always want to challenge the market value. So one of the ways we do that is as people look at the products and raise the products up, you have to understand the difference between building a product base and building a brand. Okay. You can run a business to 100K with just products. You know that, Aaron. But to get to a brand, a 7-figure, 8-figure business, you need a brand. So how does a brand evolve from products? Well, it involves from the solutions, the emotional connectivity, and the willingness and value of the product to serve that so that the people who are buying it and are passionate about it, I don't even have to be passionate about it because I'll sell fuzzy bunny slippers to grandma. They need to be passionate about the fuzzy bunny slippers and want to go tell everybody in the nursing home, their family and friends and everybody else how much they love them and where they got them from. And that's brand-driven affinity. The same way you may be like an iPhone versus Android, and I could probably start a whole debate here that would be people would be pissed off. Bro, you're a fanboy, or no, Android's better because it's technically this, or iPhone's better because it's that. And iPhone's the same thing in a different package, and it's like they don't have any new features, and Samsung's got all the new features, and it's like, you can start a war. Why? Because people are, at the end of the day, are brand-driven. Get them into your brand-driven affinity with your products, and you will make much more money, and it will grow more automatically. It will grow more organically. It's a big difference. People push products in courses, okay, because they want you to understand you have to do all these other things, build funnels, build SEO, build websites, go twerk on social media, get on TikTok and sell your soul to the social media devil. I don't want anybody to do that. I want them to focus. So in the focus, they have to understand the third big break, and that is don't marry your products. There are plenty of girlfriends in the marketplace to go steal. Now I'm a married guy, so I don't really talk about that. It's just a joke. But the end of the day is, like you said, there are millions of products, Aaron. Mm-hmm. And the answer to your question is don't marry the product. You test a product, validate the data. And if the data is good, then the business will tell you where to go next. So the real scarcity in this is not the fear of launching a product. It is the fear that it's actually either going to work or fail. But you know what happens most of the time? People are afraid of the success more than they're afraid of the failure. Mm-hmm. So sometimes they fail to launch. Okay. Yeah. So the ultimate antithesis of that is do not marry the products. Don't fall in love with them. Don't believe that they're going to give you the kids you always wanted, or that they're going to be that person who gives you the yacht and builds this fantastic dream. Don't get married to that person, that product. Okay. Find out whether or not they're even worth dating.
So become ruthlessly detached from the outcome around.
Ruthlessly detached. That's a great phrase.
That, is useful for sure, because just going to swing back to something that came up to me when you were talking about people not wanting to begin because fear of being successful or fear of getting others. We haven't got time. We're always going to be busy, every one of us. So it reminds me of the quote of the biggest cost is the money we could be making, but we're not. Right. Yeah. And that be something holding you back, the fear of success, the fear of failure. And it can also be the profit you're not making in the product you launch, right? So that's kind of what I would love to dive into a bit more as well when you just finished, just diving into how do we have the best chance possible that a product is going to be successful? And I think that was what you was getting into. Jumped in. But what does that look like? And how do we have confidence around the products we choose in terms of profit, and will it sell?
Yeah. Well, it's the numbers. It's numerical driven. So it's almost a scientific process at the end of the day to go through this. Now, how can I say that with confidence? Because I've launched thousands of products, both in my brands, in my client brands, and with enough of those products across enough segments and niches in Amazon, I can tell you that there is just a data-driven process that is supported by Amazon's algorithm to see expected outcomes. Yes, certain conditional of the environment changes occur based on our culture, based on time and money and inflation and Amazon changing and the business changing and the world changing. Acts of God, things I can't change. But at the end of the day, what I can see, though, is a pattern of repetitious behavior that when a product and a data segment of a certain kind goes into the algorithm called Amazon.com, which is just a giant AI algorithm. And so many people talk about AI, but they miss the fact that we've been running on AI for decades and they just didn't pay attention. So with the end result, we use AI to help us determine the kind of products we should sell, even how we craft the language and the message down to even what images we use, and then how we market it through the Amazon's pay-per-click system or PPC system to use AI to interpret the data and tell us where to go next. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, the questions of what it will sell, whether or not it will sell, and how much it's going to sell are all data-driven answers with 80% confidence before I even test the product in the market. When I test the first product in the market, my goal first is revenues, because at revenues, make sure you understand this very clearly, revenues is when the business actually starts. It isn't when I decide to get off the couch and go take a program and start executing things. Or even sign my LLC. That's not when the business starts. The business starts at revenue. So the faster you get to revenues, the sooner you determine and basically start the business and then determine how to get to profitability. Profitability is really the first indicator, the first break in the business opportunity that people can make when they get off their couch and actually launch their first product. Okay. There's a series of activities we call one and done activities that have to happen for you to do that, like starting the business and building the assets and building the framework of your brand. Okay. And ordering your first 50 or 100 test units to go to market. The end result is I can tell the market what I think it wants, but at the end of the day, no one's really Elon Musk. We are people who read data, determine data, and then follow the data. So we are not smart enough to tell the market what it wants. That's invention. We go for innovation over invention means I can leverage this $20 billion Amazon infrastructure to tell me what I don't know about what I just did, so that what I just did is either going to have a positive outcome or a slightly negative outcome. And it either is going to get better or it's going to get worse. If it gets better, I can spend more time, energy, attention, and money on making it go faster into profits and profits into growth and growth into scale, which then leads me to an exit. Or if it starts to look worse, it doesn't mean that it's not selling. That's the first myth. When I launch a product with this, what we call our green light process, it will sell. The question is how fast it will sell. Sales velocity, turnover of inventory. Because I already know the profits are baked into the cake before I even test market the product. Then the product goes in the market and I find out how close I was. We'll use organic first to determine whether or not the engine is ranking us and giving us organic traffic and sales, because it is a giant organic system. And if those things are positive, then we add PPC marketing campaigns to find out if we can expand on that. These are just steps in moving this ball forward. If those things look good, then the numbers of the process, okay, what we call our green light process, will literally tell me that in a 12-month period, if I ordered 40-foot container of that product, here's how much profit I would expect to get, because it's numbers based in its projections, okay, but it's an 80% confidence in the projection. The 20%, again, comes back from when I get data from Amazon. How close was I? Do I need to make a few shifts? Do I need to make changes or whatever? But again, knowing the process and knowing the numbers of profitability is including all of Amazon's fees, including logistics fees and costs and all of my operational cost and marketing cost and returns and manufacturing defects and other things I have to factor in. And if I don't know those numbers, I'm going to miss them. And I can't tell you how many times there, and I've gotten up calls with people and be like, I don't know my numbers. And I'm like, then go figure them out and come back. Because you can't run your business on gut feel. And so many people try to do that, okay? But with the process, it is not gut feel. And when you go through the numbers, then you know confidently that it will go from revenues to profit in time, as long as you prove first that you can sell it. Sales fixes everything. Once you determine that factor, the next question is anybody stopping me from selling it? Or am I having trouble? Because that's usually what happens. Business is just a series of problem solving. And at the end of the day, you're going to run into problems to solve. So with tenacity and grit and perseverance, those are typically the most successful builder profiles, because they simply won't say no to a challenge that comes up. They're going to go over it, around it, under it. They're going to blast through it. They're going to hire a helicopter and fly over it. They're going to do something to fix the problem. They're not just going to stand there and look at the wall and be like, well, this is an insurmountable problem. It's like, no, it's not. You just aren't wanting to fix it. If you're willing to fix the problems, then you will overcome what 80% of people fail at. And that is the actual process of building a business, okay, with a bit of luck tossed in, which is just time in market and time in these activities. The longer you're in it, the more luck you're going to have. That's typically how it works. And it looks to the rest of the world like, oh my gosh, look at this amazing thing that just happened. And you're like, well, shoot, man, that took me 7 years to see that overnight success. That was just a bit of luck because I stayed in longer than anybody else. So the process of that is to evolve through products to brands, and to really understand branding takes time and emotional connectivity, not just sales. And you need the profit required, which comes into the numbers, to keep yourself paid, to make the business move forward, and to give your time, okay, to make that work. When the process occurs, I like to tell people you're actually buying back time with your family, because that's typically the number one reason why people are trying to do this. They're trying to get away from some corporate unconscious engine that they got sucked into, and they're trying to get away from it. They understand the concept of trading time for money. They just don't understand the bridge to go from that hell to their heaven island. And what we're talking about today is a rowboat. So the question is, if you get in the rowboat, the last thing I want to do with people in this process is have them trying to row one direction while we're trying to row another direction, and all the boat is doing is just spinning around in circles. because we want to go in the same process. And that's called a playbook, all right, or a game plan. We have the game plan and playbook in place. It's been done thousands of times by successful people. And the people who didn't do it successfully decided to get off the couch, but then thought it was too hard. So they sat right back down. Did the product fail? Did the business fail? Well, no, they never gave it a chance to fail. They quit before it would fail because of one of the two reasons I just mentioned, either fear of success or fear of failure. So either of those people are going to be a part of this process no matter what happens, especially if you're launching your first product. It's the same process. We call it the emotional valley of despair. There's an emotional cycle of change that occurs. It goes up and everybody's like, wee! And then maybe a family member's like, well, that's dumb. You started a business. You're a moron. And then it's like, and then they tell a few more people and they're like, oh, you're going to suck. And Amazon's a scam. And this people are scamming. E-commerce does not work. And business is a failure. And then you'll go, Then you'll try to launch your first product, and then you hit that really bottom emotional valley of despair where you're like, well, this sucks. I spent money and time on this and it's not working. But that is your opportunity to climb back out of that, because it happens to every person. It's an emotional, you familiar with this, Aaron? It's an emotional cycle of change.
Very familiar. I think anyone that's been in, who's considering starting a business, just know that's the default, right?
That is the default.
That is the default. And that's totally normal, right? And I wish I'd been told that before I started, which is it's okay not to be very good at something when you begin, because
100%.
It'd be crazy to assume you'll just be hit a home run out the gate, right? It's just,
no, it's not going to happen. You can't. The first bat at Wrigley Park in the big leagues, and you show up. If you're expecting to hit a home run, then you're probably like 0.001% opportunity of that even happening, right? It takes the at bat 300. Okay,
exactly.
To get into the Hall of Fame. What does that look like stats wise? I mean, 70% of the time they're failing to hit the ball at all.
They missed.
They missed. They didn't even get on base. So statistical relevance is down to the numbers. So that leads us to understanding Amazon's system as an AI system. It's like a river, okay, but it's an AI system, and we float this river, and the river is going a certain direction in a certain way. Amazon has basically set the precedence to sell all things to all people in 30 seconds or less. They're even going to start selling cars in this coming year through the joint venture, okay? All things to all people in 30 seconds or less. The entire AI system they build, called the A9 engine, now sometimes referred as to the A10 engine, only because they put a bunch of bots around it to kind of stop people from jacking with the system, fake reviews and all that stuff you do not do, black hat. So the end result is the core engine still works the same. It's based on what's called relevance, and hyper relevance means the person who wants the problem has already had a conversation with someone else offline somewhere, saw an ad, maybe saw their friend had the product. They go to Amazon. They're like, okay, is this the right one? Check a few reviews. Is this the right pain point? Is this the right pain point? Okay, these all check the boxes. They hit add to cart and they go in 30 seconds or less. That is Amazon's flow. It's a river, and it exists already. Okay, it's like a 5-lane highway running at 75 miles an hour, 24/7. It's going all the time. In fact, last year's numbers were like 7,800 units a minute. That's how fast it's flowing. Okay. And so all you need to do is figure out how to put your popsicle stand, your lemonade stand right up against that traffic and basically present a slightly better, more innovative option to a brand that's already sitting there. And then get the AI to understand, well, I'm slightly unique. I'm a little bit more innovative. It isn't even about the product at this point, Aaron, because when's the product get delivered? An hour to 2 days after you buy the product. That's how Amazon systems work. So it's working on faith. It's a funny topic, but at the end of the day, it's your faith in the system that the product will be delivered in 2 days and that the product will meet the outcome expectations or solutions you bought it for in the first place. So what are we doing? We're actually advertising on Amazon. That's the first thing you have to understand. We are advertisers on Amazon who happen to sell products. Amazon happens to sell the products to the customers and delivers them last mile. When we understand our role in this process, then we understand the revenue generating activities, or RGAs, we actually have to focus on that are most important. If you follow the hopium guru mindset, people who are like $1 million in 30 days, you're not going to be finding the right thing. It's not realistic. The realistic thing is there are certain activities and the engine wants to see you do certain things to become relevant in that cycle. When you're the most relevant product, you fall into that slipstream, and you can get into product bases where I know 1,000 to 6,000 units a day is doable. Okay, because of that slipstream. It's already moving, right? You don't have to generate these. You don't have to build those sales. They're already coming through. They're just going to somebody else right now. And if you don't have a lemonade stand in front of that, a lemonade stand selling your pink lemonade with cookies against their yellow lemonade with cupcakes, you have no competitive advantage. You have nothing to sell at this moment. So you have to get in the market and sell something. You got to put it in front of that traffic and say, hey, is this the best one? Hyper relevancy leads to what's called keywords. The whole system is generated on keywords. If you stop and think about your Amazon experience as a customer on the mobile phone or desktop, you search with keywords. Okay. When you're really specific, like I want the 12-pack wine rack that's black, you are like hyper relevantly targeting products that you want to buy. You're looking for a 12 or a 24 version, and that's what you want. You go in there and you buy it. Those keyword relevant decisions, the engine then looks at and says, hey, this product is so much better for the 24 case wine rack black stand. And then it starts to rank your listing inside of Amazon's engine higher. And in the top 5 spots is where 80% of all the traffic comes from for those keywords. And you want to be in those top 5 spots, but you have to be relevant, which means your images, your graphics, your copy, your language, your value presentation to the market has to be better than the competition. And the competition, I'll tell you what, even after all these years, Aaron, they're sucking at it. There's a lot of sellers that just flat out suck at marketing on Amazon. They think it is all about the product, but product's actually number 2. And it's okay to be number 2. Yeah, we're number 2. It's okay to be number 2. Why? Because number 1 takes all the arrows. And they don't want bestseller badges and accolades like that because we'd be in the wrong place in the market. You understand? Bestseller badges in certain places fall to a location in Amazon's engine called nodes. Okay. Departments, categories, it's getting technical for a second. Stay with me. And then you drop down and it's called nodes and even what are called leaf nodes. So if you think about it like a tree, this whole system is like a tree. Okay. In fact, the Kapok tree is the largest tree in Amazon. And if you wonder what a Kapok tree is, go to Walt Disney World's nature reserve and that big tree where they shoot all the projections onto, that's a Kapok tree. So it's this big, huge tree, enormous trees. The end result with enormous trees is that they have all these leaves, they have all these branches, they have all these categories, if you will, and departments. And at the end of those leaves and categories, thank you, sweetheart, are nodes, and nodes are where we compete. Nodes are where brands compete. Nodes are where solutions are oriented, and nodes are where the real money is made. If you go into departments, categories, subcategories, or even niches, if you've heard of this on Amazon and your gurus have told you about this, this is where the masses go to play and die in the market space. They move units without profit, and that is not going to work. In brand-to-brand competition, they're in the nodes. And this is where Amazon's system gets to be fun because it literally tells you where to put it. You don't have to guess. Too many people guess. If you're selling a car baby mirror, there is a node called car baby mirror, and you put your car baby mirror in the car baby mirror, and you're already starting to become hyper relevant. Then if you align images, graphics, and copy towards a mom who wants a car baby mirror, you're now becoming relevant. But if you take a car baby mirror and in your inexperience, you put it into automotive, guess what's going to happen? Sales will not be the same at all. Why? Less sales on automotive than there are on baby and home goods for baby and kids. There's just more sales. Now, if you didn't know that, there's missing information. Without experience, you're not going to know these things. And you're going to fly blindly into this. And the whole system is geared to get you into a position to rank. It is all wanting to rank the best products most relevant in front of the customers and give them the best value. That's what Amazon wants. Yet everyone fights this, Aaron. I don't understand it constantly. I get on these webinars and telecasts with people and listen to them talk about selling on Amazon. And I'm like, no, that's wrong. No, that is not right. No, that's kind of right, but you missed the major. They're going to completely lose this and be lost. It's very important to understand that because it is a river flowing and you need to get in line with it. Once you're in line with it, it will unlock hyper growth potentials. And that's a whole nother problem to deal with. And the second part of that opportunity is where you then understand how to capitalize this as a business owner. If you have no experience doing that, you need to be in a position or a group of people who has experience running through growth and hyper growth situations, or even has ran through one of the worst situations we've had in the history of our country and world. I think when we had the giant thing happen in 2019 and beyond, we ran into problems that were brand new, never before seen business killers. Okay. And with Amazon, for example, a 40-foot container that was costing sub $4,500, all full in landed cost, all ready to go and sell, was now running $24,500. That's a big business problem to solve. Right. And we're still here because we understood profitability first. That all wraps into, I'm still talking, Aaron. I don't know if you have questions, man. So just interject.
I do, but there was a couple of things. I love and this is you taught me this in 2014. The first person I ever saw was explain this, which is Amazon's catalog is a tree. It's done on branches and nodes and leaves, and you can navigate that. And what I'm hearing is to win, first you need to know where the traffic is for the particular product opportunity you're looking to sell.
That's right.
Baby car mirrors, for example, but position it in the right node and the leaf node where you're able to get the most traffic, but also be relevant and compete against others in the marketplace. On that question, the analogy of the lemonade stand next to the Breaming River, how do you differentiate against others?
Yeah.
What would that look like? How does somebody do that?
Absolutely, dude. It's not rocket science at the end of the day, right? So let me use an example from the past. So we had a product line that we launched, and it was in the stuffed toy niche. And I discovered this one night up with one of my kids. I forget, it's the third. I have 4 daughters in 4.5 years, and I didn't sleep for a decade, so forgive me. But I seem to remember one of them was up sick. I think it was my third child. And mom was super tired. And so I got up, and I usually had the evening shifts because I'm a late out. So I got up and I'm feeding her, and I turned on, the TV to see what's on. And there's infomercials cranking along, right? And up pops an infomercial for this thing called a seat pet. And it's like this toy stuffed animal thing. And it's so cool, right? And I've probably told this story 100 times, but the end result is still the same regardless of what you sell today. The outcome was I discovered a product and just realized, having been an inventor and have patents and spent years putting lots of money, patents cost a lot of money, guys, 100,000 plus, to get into an invention state with a product that will most likely never see the light of day. It finally snapped on me that moment that an innovation was there right in front of me, not an invention because someone had already come up with the idea, but an innovation. Okay. And I saw this product and I thought, my goodness, we can make one of these. And it just a shift in mindset. It was just a realization from this moment that, hey, that's a cool product, to, oh, wait, I could actually sell that product. And so in the process of evolving that and kind of spitballing, it was like, we didn't need to make something uniquely, I'm going to say Elon Musk-like. I didn't need it to be the most unique thing anybody ever saw. What I needed to do was just make another competitive version of it that had slight changes. So we went into the product on Amazon, found it the next day, looked at some of the reviews and said, okay, there's like 3 things we can change to this product, 3 little innovations. And I can take those 3 innovations and I can make them the basis of this product. Like I can tell everybody, these are the 3 best things about this product you'll ever want. And I can sell those innovations to the market and say, okay, it needs better stitching. So we made durable, stronger and durable, more lasting stitches for rough play with kids. And the pockets are large enough to hold a 64 base crown set. The head's bigger to make it a wider space for your children because you use them in the car, and then their head would, kind of sit over. So they needed a larger head, and people were kind of complaining the head wasn't big enough and the stuffing wasn't nice enough and the stitching would fall apart and the pockets weren't big enough. So that's what we did. We fixed those 3 to 4 things and we took them and moved them into the forefront of the marketing opportunity and literally just leveraged off Amazon conversations and put our product up on the marketplace with those as the primary benefits. We just innovated a new brand and we called it Belt Buddies. No one had ever heard of Belt Buddies. We just launched it on Amazon and it was the competitor to Seatbelt. So we sold 2,000 units of those in 8 weeks organically because they were flooding the market with advertising, and we literally and ethically just kind of borrowed it by going onto Amazon and launching a product where people were coming in searching for the other product. And because we became more relevant than them, we did a few extra things with our listing that they weren't doing to be more relevant. The engine was like, hey, this is a better product, so let's show it more. So it showed it more and we converted more. And with our higher conversion numbers, the AI system said, let's show it to more people. And then it organically started to take off like crazy. So we ordered another 2,000 units and another 2,000 units, and they were just flying off the shelf faster than we could move them. So to keep it simple, we basically found a brand, okay, that was already marketing and competing and showing their opportunity. And we literally just said, can we make that product profitable? We even raised our price $5 more than they did to make sure we had more profit than they did. And we just went into the market and said, hey, here's our version of that product. And the market said, yeah, we like it. I've repeated that process hundreds of times with people ever since then, because it literally gets down to discovering the people who want it, discovering the competition, ensuring the profitability of it. Most importantly, not talking about selling spatulas and flat bakeware and sub $20 products, okay? Those will not work. Those are Me Too products. This was an innovation. We kept innovating it slightly, and we had brand registration for that, which is very important, and eventually had a trademark on it, which is important as well. And it didn't have the capability of a utility or design patent really at the end of the day because of the kind of product it was, or we would have taken it that far because we now saw we could at the end take it that far. So where I invented before, innovation eventually would have led to more of inventing because I could prove the product sold first. And I could prove that Amazon wouldn't stop us. And in fact, the marketplace wanted it and it took off like crazy. That process has been repeated hundreds of times across different products using the same concept we've been talking about today. The main factor was profitability at the end of the day. We were more profitable. We could buy more market share away, and we took over more market share than they had on Amazon.
That is ultimately the key that not many people will talk about, which is, okay, great, how to pick a winning product and how to differentiate. But the reality is it's the company that has the more profit at the end of the day, essentially outspend And Dan Kennedy says that the company that can pay more to acquire a customer will always win. So that means you can obviously reinvest in PPC.
That's right.
Ads, or even run external marketing to Amazon. Potentially, I don't know if that's something
we do that later on. So that really kind of encompasses what I call the platinum principle, which is kind of the last big break that people really need to understand, that these businesses are worth more in the end than at any time during the business building phase. And that is understanding growth, profitability, scale, and then the exit opportunity. So why would we exit? Okay. Inflation and market conditions mean that it is moving continuously and changing continuously. All right. There was a joke recently about the $19, I think it was, and 63 cents, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably wrong about that. That what's his name had at Home Alone in his bags that he was hauling home and they broke on the concrete and fell out. Well, somebody did the math on that and figured out that was like 70 something dollars worth of groceries now. They're like, that's a 260% inflation increase, right?
Wow.
Just in the same products that he bought. Okay. So that means that it is increasing every week, every month, every hour, every day, every year. It is increasing. I hope it stops or reverses, but it isn't at this moment. So why would you sell a business? Because I can get 2 to 3 years of profit back today. Instead of waiting for that and letting that decrease in the value of the company. When I build these companies for 2, 3, 5 years, I am then taking back 2 to 3 to 5 years of profit at time of sale. And when I know how to do this, I know how to repeat this, and I understand what I'm actually doing now as a true CEO and business builder, I can repeat that process with another brand. I can repeat it 100 times because now I have a confidence, a very simple confidence. It doesn't matter what I put in the box, I can sell the product. All right. That is the biggest win for people, especially understanding how to get their first badass market to product. Okay. It is understanding with that confidence. Once you learn that condition statement, once you understand the first product, and once you see the revenues from it, you now get a confidence that I can do this all the time. So building a company to exit is what we call our platinum principle, because there are corporate suitors and people lining up an investment right now who are going with anti-Wall Street strategies, okay, wealth without Wall Street, to invest in businesses and the purchase of the businesses and the operators and the companies that have been started. That is a big thing now. Constantly people are wanting to buy these. Come to me. Hey, what do you have to buy? What else can we buy? What can we buy with you that you'll operate? How can we buy something and get an operator? They're constantly asking me about this, right? And I know you broker the business accounts in the way that you guys do things, so you know what I'm talking about. There's a constant need for these growth and these opportunities. And so we simply stepped in front of it by helping people learn how we've helped others exit businesses. We have a couple of our exit right now, and we're buying at least 4 in this year that we're looking at acquiring that'll have between 1.5 and 3 million SDE. Anybody who works in my network or becomes part of what we do gets to follow along with this, gets to see what we're actually doing and gets to be a part of it. If it's their first product, we take them through a 12-week intensive training. Okay. Intensive growth, heads down, first product, first revenues. See if you can make that successful. Now, notice I'm not going to say that is the product that allows you to buy a Lambo. That's going to be life-changing. I'm not going to say the things that everybody says because it's not true. What is true is to get to revenues, and you can do it in 12 weeks, okay? In an intensive weekly process that you will have a product that sells, okay? Now, your understanding, is it getting better? Can I grow it? Can I evolve it into the next stages? Or is it just a great product, a great test, and I see that it is selling, it's just not going to sell as fast as I want to, but now I understand where product 2, 3, and 4 are going to come from. So now I can take the process I was just taught and I can continue my economic engine of repeating product testing and launching until one of them literally goes off. It's a law of averages. Okay. I won't put 5 million into one business, Aaron. Why wouldn't I do that? All right. What would be the smarter investment move? Put $1 million into 5 businesses. Why? One of those businesses will outpace, outperform, and out-earn the other 4 combined. It's just the law of averages. It's realistic that the more opportunities I take, the greater the opportunity will become that one of them will go much faster. That's why our 5x5 playbook is to launch 5 products. Okay. The 5 products can do an average of organic sales of 5 units a day. And with just 5 products doing 5 units a day at $12 in profit, that's a base of 109,000, a little over 109.5 if I'm doing math quickly in my head. But if you added Prime Days and holidays, it's closer to 150,000 in profit in a 12-month period. If you can accomplish that base goal, beginning business strategy after 12 weeks of intensive training to get to that in 12 months, you have the foundation, okay, of learning and having the opportunity to build that into 300,000 in year 2 and maybe 600,000 or more in year 3. Okay, it's an opportunity, not guaranteed. I have done this with people. The results are not typical because they are super amazing people who decided that they were going to row the boat themselves. And then it was just better to get in the boat with us than to keep going by themselves. But they were tenacious, go-getters, driven. They were going to do it anyways. They just felt that doing it with us would make it faster and easier. So we got on the same boat together. Some of them didn't want to get in the boat. That's okay. Some got eaten by sharks. That happens when you're out rowing around in the ocean. But the end result is if you take over a 3 to 5 year opportunity to really truly think about this as a business building, life changing, buying back my family time, building my empire, or retiring, you now understand what true business building actually looks like. Okay. For the majority of all businesses. Will some of that luck take off? Absolutely. We've seen some products of those first 2, 3. And again, I can't say these are results are typical for everybody, but Ben in our current group just launched his second test product. And he went to over $1,000 a day in revenues. Now, he's not profitable yet. Understand the difference. Profitability will be where he dials in the numbers that are working now. He dials in his marketing and he orders more inventory because he now has a confidence that during the growth of that product in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months as he goes along, he's going to be dialing in his profit. His revenues are going up. His retail price point will go up along the way as he orders more product. Cost of goods, that will go down and become cheaper as he orders more inventory. And what happens in the middle of that? It's his profit. So he knows that as he continues in the market and these things start to go, the line in the middle will go down. And our goal is to get to 15 to 25% net profit in that line. Why? Because the exit becomes your opportunity at that point. You have multiples of your profit to exit again. Now, that is the big, hairy, audacious goal. That is the strategic oversight, but it has to start with product one. And that's where we take people through that 12-week cycle to go through and find the first product, test it in the market, and validate that you can sell the product. That starts your business. And it can be done in 12 weeks when you follow the process correctly, week by week, session by session, execution step by execution step. You can learn how to build this first product correctly. And that becomes the beginning phase of the economic engine that will allow you to achieve the other freedoms and financial freedoms and things you actually want to get to.
I love it. I don't think I know anybody who's probably put as many people through launching thousands of products and created a real playbook where it's alongside done with them over the last 10, you've been doing this 12 years, right? So what I love about it is there's a playbook of from start to finish, how to have an abundance of 500 potential product opportunities from the very beginning by tapping into something nobody else really talks about, which is your environment. Like what's local to you, right? It's different for everybody. So that enables you to have confidence and certainty around the products you're looking to sell that are going to be profitable and have a high chance of selling. It's on data.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing here is that most folks who are operating in this kind of space, especially if this is their first chance to make a go at it, they don't have an accountability partner most often. They may have a wife, a spouse, a significant other. They might want to bring their children in to be a part of this, but that's not where accountability lies. Accountability lies when you have a coach or mentor or someone to advise you and consult with you in a position to say, this is what you do and here's where you kind of go and this is the playbook and the steps you should follow. That's why people go get degrees and why they want to go become doctors or they want to go out in the world. I choose to do this slightly differently because of our lifestyle and we homeschool and we believe in doing it slightly different. I believe that with skilled time and planned things, I can put my children in front of people who are experts in those areas. And I can have them learn exactly neck to neck with these people what to do. And so we replicate the same process and we walk the same process in our business and our life. It's just literally my day-to-day life in business and home. So it is not unforeign to me that this is a process that the others have seen success with by just simply replicating the steps that we took. And at the end of it, there is an opportunity to come face to face and toe to toe and do this with a coach and have somebody who actually walks you through the process. And that's one of the things we're doing here now, Aaron, if I might speak about that, if you would allow me.
I would love to. Yeah. This is what I was going to get into is like, if somebody was at the start of their journey, what would be the steps in collaborating, working with you and what your team are creating?
So right now I'm launching a new group coming up. It's only going to be 10 people. I actually have 3 people that have already raised their hand, possibly 4 that want to be involved. And they simply just said they were interested. And then we're going to move through the 12-week intensive starting next month. I'll probably do something month by month, but not until this first month is done. So we may even wait 2 or 3 months before we bring in another group of 10 people. I want to get the process right. I want their success. I want to see how they work. The goal here is to get you through in 12 weeks to your first revenue generating product that is going to be profitable once you forecast out the process. Okay. I cannot guarantee, and the results would not be typical for me to say that you could launch a 12-week intensive $1 million business. Is its future opportunity that? Could be. Could be that it will take $1 million in sales in that first product launch to get you to 2, 3, 4, 5 products that make that opportunity. But what's realistic and what most people just want to know to be fully transparent in my experience, is they just want to see the first product sell. They want to know they can do it. They want to know that they see it. They want to understand that it can sell. They want to know what other people are doing and understand how they're doing it. And they just don't know how to do it yet. They don't know how to get started. And this is the process that will get them started down that path. It will teach them to become independent builders. And we're going to do it over 12 weeks. We're going to do it in 2 coaching sessions a week that will be live. It'll be a 7-figure coach in my group right now who we trained up into his business to become successful. And he runs shotgun with us and consults with our clients. And he will be the dedicated operator teaching you exactly what he does in his current 7-figure business right now to follow the playbook that he executed to get there and to show you how to do it in the first 12 days. And under our resources, guidance, training, software, everything behind an NDA, we're going to disclose everything it takes to get this done. It's a lot of knowledge transfer, Aaron. But in 12 weeks, we've got a 12-step program to do that. Each week, follow through the live trainings and the Q&A trainings, and to ensure that every week you're moving in accountability through the next steps to go with the small group and a small, call them your team, okay? Because when you get into the group with the other people, you're going to know who those people are, and you're all going to be sort of equally yoked, working for the same goals. And the opportunity there is to work along with a community who's working through the same process, being taught the same playbook, who's being same language, same track, same software, same outcome. Now, our softwares are obviously very different. I say that because you have to get behind an NDA to even use them because they're not sold publicly. Our settings, our assumptions, the way we see the data, even the data we will give you, okay, as part of this process to help you move through the product selection process faster, is driven by AI technology in our software called Node Hunter. And it will give you the product and data support that you need to move to a product very quickly and come to an 80% confidence to test that product and do all of those things in 12 weeks or less to get to your first revenues. I want to understand the difference. Like, again, this isn't going to be the opportunity for you to buy a Lambo and go change your entire life, but you will get through this process and make your first sales. And that will teach you exactly how to make this engine become something that can become freedom and time achievable by repeating the process. Okay. For those who come through that process, or they want additional time and energy with us, then we have a consulting group we do right now called our Business Builders. So they go through that. They would have to apply to get to the Business Builders. Everyone applies to get into the Business Builders group. If you go through that product 12-week cycle and launch, then you have an opportunity to apply to that one-on-one coaching and mastermind. That's 12 months. So just to lay it out there very clearly, I work with people for a long time. Our people we go smaller and we go deeper. You and I have known each other for a long time. You are not the only person I have those kind of relationships with. We typically are not going to try to put 1,000 people in here. If you want to get involved, you have to apply. You need to tell me why. Convince me why you're the tenacious go-getter who wants to get in the boat and is going to row the right way. Otherwise, this isn't going to be for you. This isn't a mass marketing built for the chumps kind of thing. This is going to be a specific process and a playbook with a specific outcome. Why? What is the ultimate intention that I have for doing this? Why do I do this? Why do I not run it myself? All the negative questions that might be coming up from some of the people who are listening to this, because I want to build a business that I can acquire later on. I just want you to be the operator. I want you to help learn how to do it and become successful. And then I want to be able to potentially acquire that business from you later. That's my big, hairy capitalistic agenda. You become successful in your business. I have an opportunity to buy it later. That's it. That's why we do this at all. But I'm only wanted to look for the people who have the opportunity to make it all the way through that process. Because it doesn't benefit my game plan, doesn't benefit my business or my investment groups if you don't reach those goals. That's why we're looking to do this. So it isn't just turn in a course and we'll see you later. It's actually, you're going to be with us for quite a long time. So make sure that you want a commitment like that if this is of interest to you. And if it is, I'm only taking a few spots. We fill up the rest of those spots. We move them to next month. If we do it next month, or wait till the next month, you go on a waiting list and then you'll get advised you can be a part of the next group. This is going to be very intensive and very much a strategic thing for everybody who gets involved, just to be very clear.
Love that. Yeah, it's your unselfish reasons of helping people change their own life, of helping them create an income, a business that they can rely on, set their family free of all the things that they want to do and they've always dreamt of. But also the kind of selfish reasons are for you to essentially acquire and work with them on a potential acquisition of their company. And guess what? The business is running, it's profitable because you've taught them your playbooks, which has helped countless businesses over the years. And it's something which makes sense for you to either maybe go on together, acquire part of the business, or even the full business, right?
That's right.
Keep growing it beyond that and have
that is correct.
Potential future.
Because everybody's like, well, if I build a business, let's say I have success, again, success of failure, one of the reasons why so many people have problems with this, is what do I do? How do I have a playbook and plan of transition? What if I want to get my kids involved? What if I want them to run the business later on? If I exit the business, what happens? Do I have to exit the business? Is a requirement of this? No. Do I have the opportunity? Yes. Do you have transition places and things built from the very beginning to make it easier for you to hand it off? Absolutely. Do you have it set up in a way in which it can create transitory wealth for your family? Absolutely. I have at least 2 people right now who, after almost 5 years of building with us, are about to make generational exits. Okay. Wow. Generational wealth exits in those businesses. That's a big deal. I love to see that. It is a unique situation. They are part of the 1%. But just to be very clear, that is also an opportunity in all this. The majority of people will have typical results. And the goal of my typical result is to get you above 6 figures in profits a year. That is doable. That would replace almost everybody's income and give them the opportunity to build to the next pieces and foundations of true business building. That's the real opportunity, because if they do that and become a great CEO operator, we both win in their success, we win in their growth, and then we win in their exit. It's a triple win when we do it this way. But I have to know that they're like you, Aaron, and they're like Daniel and Bri and Katie and Eva. They have to be like those people. There's a particular profile, which is why I'm only looking for 10 people to do this. And it would be 10 people each month if I decide to do it each month along the way to start that process. I may not do it every month. I may do it every 3 months, depending upon who's moving and how well it's moving in the process. Because look, I don't have any negative reviews on the internet, and anybody who gets involved isn't going to be my first negative review on the internet. That's just not how it's going to work, dude. I got a little short last name and we have a 1-word brand. So I don't want negative aspects. I don't want to go to the end of my life and have to stand accountable for people that I took advantage of. That's not how I want to do life in business.
I love it. Yeah. And totally resonates. And that's been my experience with you. 10 years on. So it's been great to see what you've built over the years and all the hundreds of people you've helped acquire generational wealth through building private label businesses and brands.
You've seen it.
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure. So how can people find you?
Real simple. Yeah, I got a last name. You can Google me, or you can hit the link below this video, wherever it's at or above. I'm not sure where this is going, and then just talk to me, because it's going to be an application process. There'll be a number to text or a form to fill out below, but one way or another, you reach me. I don't have a sales team. We'll have a quick chat. There'll be an invite document that you'll get, and you'll either tell me whether or not you're in, you're out, or ask another question. It's pretty simple. Once we determine that we're a good fit for each other, I have questions, you'll have questions for me. I'd be surprised if you don't. But at the end of the day, if we're a good fit and you're offered the invite, you need to say that you're in. This isn't like take a long time, make a decision. That's a hard pill to swallow, so don't choke on it. But at the end of the day, this is kind of like, I'm in, I've been waiting to do this. This is the right mechanism. If you get the invite, take it. If you don't, it's going to be offered to somebody else, and you may not be offered another one again. That is not fake scarcity. That's just the truth. I don't want to mess with people who are not really serious about doing this. If that's the case, click below, hit the link, connect with me personally, either through the messages or whatever set up below here or above, and you will reach me personally, and we'll make sure it's a good fit.
Love it. Thanks so much, Neil, for sharing this absolute wisdom through your thousands and thousands of product launches and experience working with hundreds of people over the last 10 years. Man, it's just gold. So thank you so much. And
thank you for hosting me.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Thank you.
Ask you this. If you're serious about building an e-commerce business starting on Amazon FBA, what if myself and my team worked with you one-on-one to execute the steps outlined in the podcast while helping you discover what the heck to sell, how to make sure it's profitable, and how to successfully launch a brand, plus how to do it under a consulting plus performance-driven model where I put a $10,000 skin in the game guarantee for those that show up and are serious about building a real business done with us. If yes, text keyword profit to +1 417 413 4209. That's 1-417 413 4209. And I will personally respond with a few simple questions. If you're not in the US or Canada, please visit voltagedm.com. That's voltagedm.com. Click Get Started and book a no-pressure discovery call with me or a member of my team to learn more about the Business Builders one-on-one coaching and mentoring for CEOs, entrepreneurs, and those looking to build an empire or retire using the power of e-commerce. Once again, thank you for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for a brand new episode of the High Voltage Business Builders podcast.